paper and the milk.
I got the chips.
My name's Deniece Miller, and I'm here to persuade you to spay and neuter your animals today. Spaying and neutering, what do they mean? Neutering is the procedure of desexing male animals. They neuter normally is done within 6 months of age, sometimes 8 to 10 weeks, depending on the veterinarian. Spaying is a term used to describe the sterilization procedure of females that includes the removal of ovaries and uteruses. Both procedures are performed under general anesthesia and have a surgical incision and take about a week to 2 weeks to heal. Pros and cons of spaying and neutering in pets. An article by Pet Place in 1999 written by veterinarian John Rappaport, chairman of board and chief executive. Last year, about 17 million dogs and cats were turned over to animal shelters. Only 1 out of every 10 taken into shelters are found at home. This means that over 13.5 million had to be destroyed. The tragedy is that this is unnecessary. Much of the problem could be eliminated by simple surgery. Spaying and neutering operations are performed under general anesthesia and are quite painless. By neutering pets, owners can help lower the numbers of unwanted and homeless creatures. Why is spaying or neutering pets a beneficiary to the pet owners? For one, it keeps them healthy and helps the longevity of their lives, and it can help prevent them to get cancers. Second, they have better behaviors and obedience. Females no longer go into heat, which occurs every 6 months, and males tend to be less aggressive and have less of an urge to mark their territory. They are also less likely to roam than unneutered males. Preventing overpopulation in the pets, begin by spaying or neutering your pet, while also keeping them from which will keep them from having more litters. There are already an overpopulation of pets out there, then there are people to take care of them. By fixing your pets, you can help reduce cases of homeless and euthanized pets. I have papers here on statistics on pet populations. There's one for each of you. If you'll pass that around. If you'll look on this, this is through the Humane Society of the United States, and it talks about the estimates of the number of cats and dogs that enter a shelter, which is 6 to 8 million. The number of cats and dogs that are euthanized in shelters each year is 3 to 4 million. Number of cat and dogs adopted from the shelter is 3 to 4 million. Number of cats and dogs reclaimed by owners from shelters each year is between 600,000 and 750,000, which equals to 30% of dogs and 2 to 5% of cats entering the shelters. Number of animal shelters in the United States is between 4 and 6,000. Percentage of dogs who are purebred is 25%. An average number of litters in a fertile cat can produce in 1 year is 3. And the average number for each litter can be 4 to 6 kittens. An average number of litters for a fertile dog is 2 per year, and their average numbers can be from 6 to 10 puppies. And that's why they suggest that you spay and neuter animals so that we don't have such overpopulation. The Humane Society in the United States reports that puppy mills are a contributing problem in the United States. An article written by Bernard Muti, Puppy Mills, Dark Hopeless Places, written in December of 2008, he states, as a nation, we as owners claim to love our cats and dogs. Millions of dollars are spent on supplies and foods every year. But as a nation, we as pet owners need to take a long, hard look at annual statistics. Millions of dogs and cats given up to shelters or left to die on the streets. Why not provide a simple, inexpensive spaying or neutering to our pets instead of letting them overpopulate the world? We as owners claim we can't afford the surgeries, but we know how. But how can we afford to feed another litter and another one? Because it'll continue on and on. Better yet, how can someone be so inhumane and take the animals to a shelter to be euthanized, or even worse, take them somewhere and drop them off to fend for themselves just because you can't afford to feed them. The solution is very simple if we as pet owners would just take responsibility. Starting with not breeding our pets would be number one. Number two is take the responsibility and spay or neuter these poor creatures. Better yet, if you don't want the responsibility of these pets, then don't get a pet. For dogs, a puppy mill is like a human going to do solitary time in a prison. These animals live in kennels and smaller than our bathrooms and even smaller than our closets. They are 3 to 3 in a cage. They're not allowed to get out and walk. They urinate in the cage, they eat in the cage, and they breathe. So generally they are fed and bred, and that is it. Puppy Mill's Dark Hopeless Places by Bernard Uni also states, on any day in any community throughout the country there are wonderful dogs and cats, including purebreds waiting for a chance for a forever home. The Virginia investigation resulted in the research of nearly 1,000 dogs from a single puppy mill. The cost of pet overpopulation by Cynthia Taylor in Helium magazine states it costs shelters a lot of money to keep these institutions open. The cost in feed, vet bills, and supplies mount daily. Most of them operate on donations and the generosity of the public alone. How can all this be prevented? Unfortunately, people don't take responsibility for their animals. A good example is a kitten is given as a Christmas present. 6 months later, she becomes pregnant. And the owner doesn't want the responsibility of a pregnant cat and the responsibility of finding these kittens homes. So they bundle in a pregnant cat and they dump her in a field or even on a highway and leave her to fend for herself. If everyone took responsibility, took their cats or dogs to the vet, had them neutered or spayed, the animal overpopulation would be more than half. And I'm sure veterinarians would work with you to pay your bill, even if you can't afford to pay it in one setting. It is estimated that 70,000 cats and dogs are born each day in the United States. According to the American Pet Products Manufacturers Association, 2001 to 2002 National Pet Owner Survey stated there are approximately 73 million owned cats in the United States. 3 in 10, or 34.7 million, households own at least one cat. 1/2 of cat-owning households, which is 49%, owns one cat. The remaining 51% own 2 or more. These are cats that are owned and loved by people. How many thousands are not owned and end up in ferals or in shelters, hoping to beat the clock and be homed before their deadline has run out for euthanization? Please be responsible. The animals have feelings just like we humans. Look at it this way. How would you like to be neglected or abandoned and left to fend for yourself with no job, no money, no shelter? And to think, some adults even do this to their children. This is horrible. Please spay and neuter your pets. Thank you.
I will.